Welcome, everyone, to our Neumi hair panel. We brought together an amazing group of leaders and experts from our field, our formulator, from our medical team, to give you an inside look at what makes this product so special. You'll hear personal stories, clinical insights, and how this product is already changing the conversation around hair health. So I'm excited to bring a couple of our incredible panelists to everybody today. Let's start with Rhonda Dasher. She's a Neumi Diamond and one of our early testers and promoters of this product. Rhonda, would you mind giving us just a quick bit of background on your role and some of your history, and maybe a little bit about you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron. So my history is I've got 30 years in the beauty industry. It has been my life. This has been a place that I have found to be my home. I came out of the education and went straight over and to change my trajectory and wound up behind a chair, and it's just been a blessing. I also am a permanent makeup artist. So this has been my life. I have been in and out of the salon for 30 years. I've seen everything that's come around. Now, I've been a part of Neumi since the very beginning. It was Hydrostat that really grabbed my attention. I knew you had disrupted the industry, the nutraceutical industry, by not swallowing pills, but then I saw what you were doing with the face spray, and that changed everything. So this has been my space. I'm so excited. Love working with Neumi, love working with these amazing men and these women that you see here, and you as well. So I'm looking forward and excited to see what's going to happen with this amazing technology that's going to be pushed forward. So it's my pleasure to be here. It's been a journey to watch what this hair product has done, the results, and I'm super excited to share what I've seen because I've never seen anything like it. Thanks, Aaron.
Oh, thank you, Rhonda. And we look forward to coming back to Rhonda in just a few minutes with some questions. But let's bring up Sherry Warner. She's also a Neumi Diamond. She has a deep understanding of the emotional impact that this product can have, especially for women, as we know. So Sherry, if you don't mind, share a little bit of your background as well before we dive in.
Well, currently at this stage in my life, Erin, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. It's very exciting that we're here in this space and time and covering hair of all things. Hair is beautiful. Hair is beautiful for women and men. So currently I'm a gym owner. I'm a personal trainer globally, virtually and physically, and I help women gain back their physical strength. I'm also a health advocate in, of course, glutathione and the hydrostat technology, as well as nutrition. I was here when Neumi started. That would have been July 2021. And we have seen such significant progress in all of the products that we have put out on Neumi. We are life-changing. We see life-changing results in all areas of our products, and we are excited about this hair product. I was actually the one of the very first ones to use the Neumi Scan product, and what an amazing testimony that has been. I think I've traveled the world on brochures, nonetheless. However, so I'm a testimony to what the product can do, and I can't wait to share the results that we've seen in the hair care. And again, I'm excited to be on this panel. I'm excited to share our experience. Thank you so much.
Well, Sherry, and we're going to come back to you as well. Thank you so much for being a participant with us. And we're going to go out now to Angie Bartolotti. Bartolotti, she is just absolutely amazing. I know I always just butcher that name, but she's a passionate Neumi member, and she's also helped us with some consulting and given us a lot of insight into other areas, but specifically this space. And so, Angie, you're someone that jumped right into using and sharing the product. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and what brought you in and grabbed you?
So I have been in the space for about 15 years, even longer if you consider how long I was in film and television production. But it's really bridging story, it's bridging passion, it's bridging possibility, and it's also so much about what we're doing to our bodies that make all of this make sense. So when we're looking at different products and evaluating how we're going to make these life changing, even if it's one little thing that can be life changing. So I've seen all the brands, I've worked with many of them, I've been part of the marketing storytelling, and I got very tired of realizing how much of it is not real. And so I fell in love with Neumi and Hydrostat because of the people, and most importantly, though, the products. They stand up, they work, and they work how we know they should work based on their cellular use and how those things are all colliding together. And so from that, I bring the science, the storytelling, and then really what does this actually mean for you all together so you can understand how you can optimize your life by small little changes through habit stacking.
Amazing. And Angie, we're excited to have you on and to be a panelist with us as well. So we'll come back to you as in just a few minutes. We're honored to have Dr. Gordon Crozier with us. He's a nationally recognized expert in integrative medicine. He's part of our Neumi Medical Advisory Board. Dr. Crozier, can you tell everyone a little bit about your background and involvement, not only in this product, but in other product development processes that we've had?
So I've been in the integrative world for quite a while. I do speak internationally on longevity medicine and what longevity medicine means. And we're actually looking more for the overall health rather than just length of days, but how healthy you really can be. And we've also are going into, so I've dealt with aesthetics for a while. I do all kinds of aesthetics in my practice. And I've done hair restoration in my practice for a long time. But what I was really discouraged with was that all of the products, it didn't matter if they were pharmaceutical products or other products, I tried them all. They really weren't working well for any of my patients, males or females. So I went to Bert and we were putting our heads together, and I had another company that really wanted a formulation, and I said, I'd rather Neumi have this, my part of the formulation. And then he expanded upon that and made it even better. And so that's what I was here for, because I wanted a good product for my patients and my population.
Well, Dr. Gordon Crozier, we look forward to you being on the panel as well, and we're looking forward to some of the information and answers that you'll give. But I will tell you that everybody needs to know this. So Dr. Crozier had asked me, what hair product are you using to currently put on your scalp? I had told him, he just sent back a simple message that said, that liposomal delivery is plugging your scalp. And I said, wow. I guess I'll throw it out. So the bottom line is, you guys are going to get the truth today, and we're excited about it. And finally, we have Bert Wanacott. He's our Neumi's Chief Innovation Officer. He's absolutely amazing. He's the man behind the formulation, but not just this formulation. He's behind all of our formulations. So Bert, you've worked on a lot of products. Tell us what made this one just absolutely so special.
Well, this one was really simple in the fact that I think I got feedback from every one of you on this panel, and it was, why don't we have a hair product? And that drove me to be able to figure out why we didn't have a hair product. And we kept hearing it, and so we knew we needed to get something that made sense to everybody. I continually love to work with Dr. Gordon. I mean, he's forgotten more than I'll ever know in the field, and I appreciate that. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create something that people could see was working, that was a formula that fit their daily routine, lightweight, no buildup, all of those kinds of things. And we wanted to be able to give people products that they could then share with others. The product itself, and we'll get into it in some detail, is really a situation where we're trying to do a number of things. It isn't just a beauty product, it's a health product. So I'm excited to talk about it. And more than anything else, I'm excited to hear the rest of you panelists.
I am too. And as a matter of fact, it's fun when we talk about Rhonda Dasher. Again, 30 years in this space, and you guys have to realize what that means. So I'm going to ask the easiest question that we could jump into immediately. Rhonda, how easy was it for you to introduce this product to others?
Well, that is an amazing question. In the industry, we see products come in, products come out. You will hear women talk about this, women talk about that. And then we see very little, if any, results. And so one little hair could spark a flame for somebody. And of course, they want to tell the next person. So when I started looking at hair, now, if you know my story, it takes a lot to move me. I'm not a quick sale. I want to know everything behind it, the technology, what's in it, what causes it. My sister is a little bit different. She'll try anything, and then I'm go, oh my gosh, whatever she's trying, I need, which is what happened with the skin product. So I'd already seen the results and already knew, because of our efficacy, we're not going to put out anything that doesn't work. And so we're not going to jeopardize our reputation for what we've already done. So when we started looking at a hair product, there were some stats that I began to look at, and I already knew behind the chair what I felt that I knew. And one of the stats that I found was really concerning for me. And that was this: hair loss in women can significantly be detrimental to their mental health. Now, at first, I thought it was kind of silly. You know, how can that be detrimental to your mental health? And then it was leading to anxiety, depression, decline in their self-esteem. So I did what any great hairstylist would do. I started asking women that had fine thinning hair, tell me a little bit about how you feel when you're out, the wind blows, or if you're somewhere where someone can lord over you and look down. What does that do to you? Do you get anxiety about going places? And emphatically, the answer was yes. Now I knew I was onto something. And then that led me to look at, okay, so how many women, and I'm not just disregarding men, but I'm primarily a hairstylist for women. So I'm like, well, how many women are actually suffering with this? Now I began the aging process. And of course, I'm looking at women that are 40 and above. And what I found out that half the women over the age of 50 are experiencing fine thinning hair. These are my people. And so, and then it started looking at the age of 40, and then I started really getting concerned. And then I started looking at other factors that could cause this, even COVID and other things that we've dealt with. So when I whispered in their ear, hey, if I told you I had a product that could significantly change the texture of your hair, maybe help your hair grow a little bit. And of course, I went into the little bit of the science myself of what I know as a hairstylist. Would that interest you? And they would turn in the chair and look at me and they'd say, where is it? How do I get it? How do I buy it? And so what is it? How does it work? Is it a pill? Because now we're all antiquated with technology, thinking we got to swallow something. And maybe it's not completely antiquated, but to say I spray on my hair morning and night, that's it. Will you lightly massage it in? Would you try this product if it were available? Well, how much would it be? And so we played around with the price point. What would it be worth to you? And so this one conversation, I know you asked me a question that seems like it's going a little bit in a different direction, but so I found out there was more questions than answers to the question I had proposed, which meant that women are already looking. Now, you can spend tons of money on hair restoration, just like Dr. Crozier was talking about. And if he says that he hasn't seen anything that really works, I'm going to trust him because he does his research. And so when you're looking at he and Bert and what they're coming up with and our hydrostat and looking at getting inside that papilla, that bulb that can really stimulate hair growth, and this can work in these ingredients for whatever reason they're in there, I'm like, this is something I really want to put my name behind, not knowing. Now, we had played with the product, we had seen the results from some of the diamonds, and we knew we saw something. But to stand behind a chair of 30 years and to tell my clients, I think I have something that could possibly change you, I had to have the confidence in hydrostat, and it was 100% confidence that I spoke. And what I saw was the same thing we see in our company. We offered hope to women, possibly men, but I'm primarily a hairdresser of women. We offered hope to women, and hope is something that makes the heart happy. And so for me to say, let's get you started, and can I take before and after pics? So it was an easy intro for me, and it led me to understand really what women are suffering with and how this is going to be just another piece of the puzzle for the whole industry, beauty, health, just like Angie was talking about, and how we are just coming in strong and we are cleaning up a lot of collateral damage that we've all experienced. So this is going to be exciting to see new people across the board before and after pics. I can't wait. Thank you.
Hey, I'll tell you, it's interesting when I think about what you just said, Rhonda, because it is hope. You know, it's a confidence level. It's you know, people looking for solutions, people looking for answers. And I think that is something that kind of plays into, you talked about how much money people are willing to spend on their hair or on their skin or on their health. You see people spending thousands of dollars a month just to stay healthy right now. And so really when we talk about it, and I've got a great follow-up question for Sherry, but why do you believe aging hair is such a massive industry? I mean, it's on track to hit over 200 billion by the year 2032. Why do we think that, Sherry? What's going on in the world?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'll follow up behind Rhonda. So the good news is that Rhonda and I live 700 miles apart. And we lived 700 miles apart for, I don't know, ever, 30 something years. And so she's my hairdresser. So I wait and I go home to get my hair done because she knows my hair. I trust what she says when she says, you can't do this to your hair is brittle, your hair is thin, your hair is breaking. I can't do that to your hair. I can't cut your hair the way you want it because it's not going to be a hairstyle for you. So we're going to go back and talk about this hair industry is a billion-dollar market, and it's set to be like a $213 billion market by 2032. And I'll give you a little tip. So if you Google hair products, if you Google, let's say, anti-aging hair, issues of anti-aging hair, watch out for your social media platforms because you're going to be inundated with products galore that are going to come through and promise a lot but deliver little. So it's interesting that right now Neumi is on the cusp of something spectacular. We've seen it in the trials. And another thing, so Rhonda kind of hit on that for women, it's part of our physique. It's part of how we get dressed. It's part of our center of our self-confidence. Long, beautiful hair is what we feel like when we were young. And for the majority of women, when the hair starts aging, that's an impossible task. So you need to cut your hair short so you can deal with it. So you're dealing with thinning, you're dealing with gray, you're dealing with dryness, you're dealing with breaking of the hair, and you're not dealing with beauty, and that's what we're looking for. We're trying to replace something that's aging. It's not just here in the United States, it's global. So the market is global. Lucky for us, we're global, and we're going to attract all of that that's coming in. So we're aging longer, living longer. So the elderly are now looking at their hair. Let Rhonda talk to you about my mom. My mom goes to see her about every 4 weeks to get her hair fixed, done, whatever. So she's going more often than normal. She's living longer as well as everybody else. And then we're going to go to technological advancements. That's where we are. We're coming in with innovation because that's what we do. That is part of our mission. We're going to disrupt the hair industry, just like we disrupted the skincare and just like we disrupted the brain and our health. So we're looking at all of these technologies that we're going to compound upon with the simple hair product that you spray on your hair. It is simply amazing. So I spoke earlier about your social media platform. I challenge you, go do it and see what happens. Well, what we have on our side at this particular moment in time are testimonies, and they are spectacular and unreal. I told Rhonda when we got a hold of the first product, and I said, I think in a week that I think my hair is shiny. I think I can manage it because it's so fine. It's not thinning as far as coming out, but it's just fine, thin hair. I'm a 65-year-old woman. My hair's not supposed to look like this. Okay, in a typical world, it's drying, breaking, graying, all the above, but it's manageable. And so the other thing I want to talk about are the hair products that are, the market is going to continue to grow. We're going to be looking for what can we do to change the texture, style, beauty of our hair. It's part of our self-esteem. It's part of our lifestyle. It defines who we are. And the growth is driven by consumers just like us. And I feel like, because I'm training women that are younger than me, some older, that this hair thing is starting early. So we want to address it before it gets to the stage where you're trying to go deep within to try to fix it. We're addressing it early at the beginning stages. We're not just trying to treat the hair from the outside. We're treating the hair from the inside. I think it's remarkable. I think we're going to see this thing explode, and I'm excited to be part of it at the beginning. Thank you.
Well, that is exciting. And Sherry, you're right. I think what's happening is that you're seeing more and more people gravitate towards supplementation to try to identify ways to save. But it may be too late. You know, I will admit, and I'll admit it fully on camera with everybody here around the world, that my wife said to me this morning, I see turkey in your future, and turkey would be, you know, getting a hair transplant. I don't see turkey in my future. I'm going to keep spraying this stuff like crazy. But the fact is, Gordon Crozier said, quit using that other stuff because it's bad for your head and bad for your scalp. Start using this only, and then we'll see if turkey's in the future. But Angie, you know, you're in the space. This is what you do. I won't talk about celebrities that you work with, but you're always involved in a lot of different aspects of the beauty space. So for you, you've seen what's out there. There's a ton of stuff out there. How does this product compare to other things that you've seen in the market?
Well, there's a bunch of differentiators, but I wanted to say one thing about that hair restoration stuff. A new client of mine, we're working with the ingredient makers and all of this stuff, and they were proposing, which I stepped away from, it's a $600 a month hair restoration product. Cost of goods with packaging landed was $1.50. And so a lot of them, they get so much hype, and it goes back to all of these products that are on the market, because it's like, okay, if you have a gallon and a half of water and you put a drop of lemon in it, do you have lemonade? Do you even have lemon water? I mean, it's all of these great claims that say they can do X, Y, and Z with this certain proprietary blend that never gives you the amount that's in it actually, because then they don't have to note whether it was a therapeutic dose that a clinical trial proved that this worked. So there's all these fancy ways that we, as the people behind the marketing, you can get around all of this stuff. And I got so tired of that. And I'm no longer aligning myself with brands or opportunities at all that don't bring the thunder with what they've got, and that it's going to be life-changing. And you know, on the market specifically with hair stuff, they are not thinking about the rest of your whole body wellness, for one. I mean, that's just out the gate, because how many of them, even the top prestige brands, they have all kinds of toxic ingredients. They have ones that will turn toxic on you. We are which I'm obviously not, but a nation that always loves to go get your hair straightened. And that oftentimes contains formaldehyde, and you might not see it as formaldehyde on the label, but they're hiding it in different words. So these are all known carcinogens that at one point or another are in what we're seeing and what we're using. It also weighs the hair down. It damages it from root to tip. When it says no, it's helping it root to tip, it's not. And the other thing that no one is doing on the market that I'm seeing right now is applying cellular science and the technology that makes our body this resilient, beautiful thing that our creator made us. He didn't make us for perfection. He made us for resilience. Our body knows how to heal itself when it is given the right microenvironment to do so. And so by adding every hair product that I have been guilty, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, Aquanet, God only knows what I did to the ozone layer personally, but you know, all of these things that are cumulative over time. And I think as a society now, we're looking at, you know, 90%, 96% of chronic diseases are treatable and reversible. But it doesn't start like that. Didn't start with one hamburger and you got overweight, right? Or it didn't start with one cookie. Well, with me, it'll start with one cookie and I can't stop. But you know, it's these little things that are like, okay, why is my body now off? Why do I feel, you know, under the weather? And why do I feel sluggish and optimal? It's like what Hydrostat does in going in and cleaning all of that stuff out in your cells and taking that waste away. This is doing the same thing with your hair, but it's also doing it on the molecular level, strand by strand, pulling things together that makes what I've seen is an increased density. And even with my dad, who's got I know he's graying, and he's one of those that did the turkey. And you know, some people are just not always meant to have hair on the top of their head. This has actually changed the way that his hair looks and color and the thickness and the density. And my mom cannot stop talking about it, which you know her, Aaron. Oh my gosh. So when it comes to the things that really matter, this is one good thing that you can do that really does work for your hair. And, that is something that I'm proud to be part of, but also that it's considered among these habits that we're really, because you don't replace a habit, you basically keep the habit. So you need to give yourself something good that you're doing that gets that going. And once you, for me, when I'd gone through, COVID and some other things that we all experienced, our global staycation, it was hard to get back on a train of really doing something good for yourself. And it's like a gateway product almost, that if you look at this and go, this is one thing. And yes, it matters that it's just one thing. We're not trying to overhaul our bodies by 4th of July, because that's not going to happen, right? These are little things, though, that are cumulative to our mental health, to our overall wellness, and then our body's response to, oxidative stress and all these other things that combine to make us, the wonderful humans we are. But if we're not giving our bodies the right tools, and we're not really looking at what we're putting in and on ourselves, we are setting ourselves for a future that we, really are not going to want. We want to have those life optimal, length optimized, longevity, meaning that, when our creator decides that it's time for me to go home, right? I was as well as I could be until that day happened. So I lived fully for my family and did the best I can for our communities.
Well, I love that. Our creator didn't create us for perfection. It created us for resilience, because I really do think that, we go through a lot in this lifetime. And, like I said, when my wife looked at the back of my hair this morning and she said, I think your future shows turkey in it. You do kind of just go, wow, how does that look? Or, I need to see the top of my head, I guess, without Rhonda looking over the top of it. But it does play into this aspect, and Angie hit on it a couple of different times, that you've got all of these ingredients out there that you're really not sure if they're toxic. You're really not sure if they have a chemical or toxic makeup in terms of the way they work, or in terms of the way they shape the hair or the scalp or whatever it is that they're putting the condition on the hair. But the fact is that, what is it doing to the environment? What is it doing to your skin? What is it doing to the hair in and of itself? So there's a lot to that. And I think from a scientific perspective, Dr. Gordon Crozier, we really need to understand what makes this product different from others on the market.
Well, number one, it's not going to accumulate on your scalp. So Bert kind of elated to that a little bit ago, and so did Angie. But most products build up on your scalp, and they build up, and what are they going to do? They're going to plug that follicle. And when that follicle is plugged, what's going to happen? You're going to begin to decrease your blood supply to that follicle. When you decrease that blood supply to the follicle is going to shrink. Your hair becomes finer and finer and finer until it falls out. We don't want that. None of us want that. And so that's what makes this product different. So with the hydrostat component and the glutathione and the cysteine in it, because that's part of it, that actually helps to purify and cleanse and detoxify the scalp, and so that the hair follicle can actually breathe and grow. Then you have different amino acids. And those different amino acids, it's a nice blend of amino acids. Different amino acids do different things. These amino acid combinations help to build the collagen, and they actually help to build elasticity, and they help for the growth of the hair to become stronger. So you're going to have a stronger follicle, you're going to have a stronger hair shaft. Why? Because you are improving it. And arginine, everybody knows about arginine. Arginine is one of the products in there. Arginine actually helps to dilate blood vessels, so you get better blood flow. You need blood flow to the scalp. You don't know the number of men and women that have come into my clinic and they have zero blood flow to their scalp. Why? Because of chronic diseases. Maybe it's post-COVID, maybe it's whatever it is. There's a plethora of reasons. And that actually, you have to increase blood flow. If you don't increase blood flow, you can't get nutrients to the scalp and to the hair follicle. Now, you're going to get it because everything that's in this has a lot of nutrients. And because of the hydrostat, you're going to get it into those cells. And that's what makes this completely different from any other product. because half of those other products don't absorb correctly. All they're doing is building up and causing mush on your scalp, and it doesn't work. And I've seen it so often. And that's why I love that. And we do have some peptides in there as well. I love peptides. I'm on the steer committee for the International Peptide Society, so peptides is kind of my world. But peptides are built on amino acids. So we have the amino acids, and then we have peptides. These peptides actually are going to help correct the hair. So I don't know, but I have a couple people that are saying that their hair is turning back from being gray to not being so gray anymore in trying this product. So, I don't know, but it might, and we know that dyeing your hair is really toxic to your scalp. So you don't want to do that. So we have different things, but there's so many different products, and I could go on and on and on about every single product on here, but I don't want to take more time away from Bert because, he knows a lot of that formulation too, and how it was built together to actually be a unified way of building stronger hair follicles, stronger things. So it's great in what you see, and the end product is wonderful. You have people that are happy. The only thing is I always had to tell people, listen, you're not going to see results in a week. You're not going to see results in 2 weeks. It takes a while for your hair to begin to grow back. So you have to give it 90 days. And then at the end of that 90 days, you tell me what you see. But I also look because I have a big, huge microscope that I look at everything with this big, huge microscope that's high powered with all this lights, and I can see the hair follicles. I can see which ones are actually coming back, which ones are being revived. And it's surprising what you can see for a revival of these hair follicles. And I love it. But I always tell people you can't stop your other products. You still have to take your oral swish because if you don't take that, you need that. That's going to give every single cell in your body what it needs.
Well, and I think that's kind of the key is we're doing a lot from the inside out. Now we're working a lot from the outside in. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. I love what you just said, which is that you're not going to see it in a week, folks. I mean, one of the greatest stories most recently is that Ryan Scott, who's just an amazing, amazing man, who's one of my partners here. But Ryan went in to get his haircut, and he took a picture of Brad Pitt. And he said, I want this buzz cut. And she said, well, let me look at it. And he handed her the picture. And he goes, yeah, it's just like this one, with Brad Pitt. And she goes, look, I can't work a miracle. So the bottom line is that, yeah, he may have wanted to look like Brad Pitt and he wanted his haircut, but she wasn't going to be able to pull a miracle. Same thing with my hair. I've been spraying like crazy. You guys have no idea. I'm putting everything on this hair. I'm going to town, but the fact is that, we've got to see where it takes us and what gets us there. But the question is, and it really comes to Bert now, but what was your vision in creating this product, and how did the ingredient profile or the delivery system come together as you were kind of compiling this whole thing and starting to work with Dr. Gordon? Bert?
Well, first of all, I'm a little bit familiar with our technology, happen to understand some of the things it does and some of the things it doesn't do. One of the things that we wanted to do, what was behind our thinking, was that we wanted to have a leave-in water-based spray that feeds the hair, Angie, you said from root to tip. And that's really one of the things that we wanted to make sure took place. We also wanted to make sure that we used every ounce of our technology to be able to get to deliver those products into the hair and into the scalp. I mean, if the bottom line is that we wanted healthier hair, we wanted a healthier scalp, we wanted stronger hair, we wanted softer, shinier strands. I mean, there were a number of things that we wanted to do as we got started with this. And in part, and Dr. Crozier's talked about it, we've used ingredients that are designed specifically for each one of the steps. The amino acids, as he referred to them, not only support the glutathione, but also support the keratin that is part of the hair shaft. And so suddenly we've got the building blocks of strength, strengthening the hair fibers. You talked about thinning hair. All of a sudden it becomes such that it has to be stronger because it's a little thinner. And so there were a number of things. We developed it specifically to be sure that we could have something that made a difference. Now, the comment that's been made is that this is a little bit different product than some of the other ones that we have, where experientially you try some of the other products and within 15 minutes you feel a difference. This one is not a 15-minute product. It just isn't. And that was one of the concerns actually that we had. We wanted to be sure that people would be patient enough that they would continue to comply with using it. All of us have been faced with a product that it didn't work the very first time, and you go, oh, I'm not going to use that again. But the important part, and I think Dr. Gordon said it, you got to give it some time to make it make sense. One of the things that was brought up as we were talking about it was, if this is a hair restoral product, why don't we use minoxidil? Why don't we take that step off the curb and use something that we know has been proven to be a hair growth product? That's really, really easy discussion on our part. First of all, if we add minoxidil, we've got to add so much because there is the monographs that make it the FDA compliant. It then turns this into a drug, and we certainly don't want to have a drug. We don't want to have the side effects. We don't want to have the worry about what it's doing in addition to what we want it to do. We need to be careful, obviously, as we sell it, that we're not using words like it regrows hair, but it promotes stronger, thicker looking hair. And I think some of our before and afters can demonstrate that with some ability. And so at the end of the day, we wanted a clean, effective ingredients in a hair product that everybody could use every single day, that they could see that there was a difference to it. We can go through, and I'm not sure this is the time or place to do it, every one of the ingredients. Dr. Crozier and I think we exchanged a dozen different lists as to the things we wanted and the things we didn't want in this formula. The ones that we've selected are those that we believe were meaningfully selected to be effective. We've got something in it that helps the shine. We have something in it that prevents the frizziness. We've got something that soothes the irritation on the scalp. I mean, so we're from the ground up, from the scalp, the hair follicles, the shaft. Each piece of it is designed specifically to be able to give us the best looking hair that we could.
Well, and I'll tell you this, as we have been sending out a lot of the samples, because we've had to get out the samples to a lot of different people, and it's been fun to see it go out. And I remember it was an interesting conversation because Bert said to me, Aaron, I feel like this is really a great product. I mean, I really feel like it's a great product, but I haven't seen any evidence that it's a great product. Can you show me anything? And I said, give me 1 minute. I reached out to Rhonda and I said to Rhonda, tell us about some of the results that you saw, or tell us about some of the before and afters that you've seen. And all of a sudden we started getting just slammed with before and after. So Rhonda, tell us a little bit more about that, because obviously when people see results, they get excited.
Yes, absolutely. I could just listen to these gentlemen talk about specifically putting in there a specific product, a peptide, amino acid that's designed to do exactly what they need it to do. With such efficacy and making it clean, because people are sitting in the chair and they want something clean. So when we started spraying, we started just showing women how to do it. And so it's very simple. We didn't want to overcomplicate it. Spray your hair. We were actually counting the amount of times a person would spray their hair. And the big question was, I don't wash my hair every day. It's a new thing right now. People don't wash daily. So they want to go a few days. You train your hair to do this, and then you get, it gets thicker and more voluptuous. So people love that. How is it going to affect this? Is it going to make my hair wet, sticky? Because that's typically what products will do. And so showing women how to do it. You're going to do it in the morning. It can be on wet hair. It can be on dry hair. It can be on hair that you just want to comb through, making it very simple to how they could utilize this. And you want to set it on your counter. So you're just going to pick it up. You're just going to spray, and you're just going to spray Yeah, you're just going to spray. And then what? Then you're just going to kind of rub your fingers through it. Are you going to spray from the top to the bottom? Well, typically what we're after is we want to make sure that we get that scalp. Okay, that's where the most important thing happens. You heard Dr. Crozier talk about that. Trichology is the study of hair. And it is amazing. We have trichologists that just study hair. Now, I don't really study hair. I've learned about hair. I've learned that hair grows in 3 stages. The first stage is the anagen stage. It's the most important stage. That's where it's coming out at the scalp. That's what you want to see. And then the next phase, of course, is the catagen and then the telogen, and that's where we shed over about 80 to 100 hairs a day. Unfortunately, we're not even seeing hair get past the first phase before it breaks off and it is no longer there. When we started spraying the hair, now get this. Now, I mean, it takes a lot to make me buy into something. I don't do hype. Sherry knows that. I know my body. I know how my body responds. And it was hard for me not to be overzealous to the women. So they would say, "Hey, I think I see something. What do you see?" And my question to them was, "What do you see? And what's in it? And like, how are you using it? And what are you seeing?" And I tried to remain very, very neutral. There were times when I took pictures that I ran to the back and sent them to Sherry and said, "Oh my God." And it wasn't 30 days. Okay, so I'm not saying it was in 10 and 7 and 2 days. No, I'm saying it was not 30 days. After 30 days, them women were coming back and saying, "How do I get more?" Well, that's going to be interesting because there is no more. And but look at my before and afters. Now I did make sure that I took the before on their phones. Okay, we got all kind of people plugging stuff in that's not real, and I don't do that. I don't have the apps. I don't know how to do any of that. I refuse to learn. And then they would come back to the salon, same lighting, same time of day, same position, and they would bend and then they would take, and then I would say to them, "Let's you look at your before and after." And some of the words I can't say on camera, but it was such a shock to them that they would grab the mirror, turn their heads, turn back around, and then I'd say, "Feel your hair." And there were times, and I kid you not, where I'm hoping that this product is going to do what it says. I'm like Bert. Okay, I know it's good stuff, but I need to see that it's good stuff. And there were times when I had some really desperate women, and I knew those women, and I personally reached out to those women. It was easy for me to find and locate the women that I wanted, but I wanted not just ones that thought they had fine thinning hair. I wanted the ones that knew, and the ones that I knew, ones that I was having to do special coloring on to try to camouflage. And so they would walk through the door, and before they could shut the door, I was sitting there like this. And I'm thinking to myself, "My Lord, am I seeing things?" And they would sit down and I'd say, "Okay, let's talk about it. What's going on?" Because it would be that time for their hair appointment. And they would say, I don't feel my hair." And they don't have to tell me to feel their hair. I know what their hair feels like after 20 years. I can run my fingers through it. I can tell if they've changed medicines. I can tell everything about them, what's going on. And I would run my fingers through it and I say, "Well, what do you think?" And they're like, "I swear my hair is more voluptuous. My hair feels thicker. My hair, look at the color shine. Look at the shine. Look at," and they were just naming the things that you've heard Gordon, Dr. Crozier, and Bert talk about. And then, of course, I'm sure you're going to hear Sherry and Angie. So the results that I saw led me to keep hounding Aaron and Ryan and Steve. I'm like, "We have a lady here that might possibly have one of the worst heads of hair I've ever seen on a female." And I was adamant about that. And this lady was quietly involved in the testing. She came in on the hind tail of it. In other words, people were like 20 days ahead of her. And I actually asked her to let me personally work with her. She was not my client, and she had very long hair, a lot like Angie's, but half, maybe a fourth of the hair. And she just did not want to cut it. It was her glory. And I thought, if this works on her, we've got something. And I sent the picture in after a couple of months for her. Thank you, Erin. And I said, "You remember the individual I was talking about that had possibly one of the hardest to correct hair? Okay. I'm going to send you before and after, and you're not going to believe it. I did not take the picture. Her hairdresser took the picture, which is even better. She brought me over to the chair and she said, look. And so she parted the part. I looked down in and I said the same thing. I said, oh my God. I said, we've got something, which caused me to reach back out and say, please move forward. Tell the scientists, the doctors, whomever, that this is something that please, we need to move forward.
I love it. And it's interesting, Rhonda, you just kept on just sending us a barrage of photos. But all it did was it validated what we had believed internally, was that we had something that was magic, something that could help women and help men and help those individuals that really were struggling with a good head of hair. How about that?
Yeah.
And we wanted to give them hope. We wanted to give them
Yes.
something. And Sherry, it's interesting because from your experience, and you've talked about it a little bit, and we've heard it from not only you, not only Rhonda, not only Angie, but we've also heard it from Bert and from Gordon and myself. But why is it so emotionally important to aging women specifically, or most importantly, in particular, why is it so important to them to have a full head of hair, to feel, I mean, you're in a space right now that really is, women's, I mean, really, you really work with women in health. That, from fitness perspective to overall, glamour and how they feel and how they look. Why is it so emotionally important to them?
Well, I think that, hair plays a significant role in who they think they are, how they perceive themselves, and really how others perceive them, and how is it impacting their self-esteem and their confidence. If you have thinning hair, if you have graying hair, if you have unruly and your hair texture is dry, brittle, and all the above that Rhonda talks about, it's hard to look and feel beautiful when this part of your head does not line up with everything else that you're trying to do to your body. So their overall appearance is all about how their whole self-esteem feels. And we're going to talk about their self-expression, their identity. A lot of, it's a powerful symbol of who you are is the way you wear your hair. And if you can't wear the hairstyle you want, it changes who you are. So Rhonda can, testify to all these women coming in. We had some of the same testimonies during the trial period. I'm going to go back to just one thing. I just want to hit on one thing that she was talking about. So when I was doing the study, my people, we chose the people that we wanted to do. We looked at their hair. We knew that this could change what they were doing. And for women, a lot of women still part their hair. The part gets really wide in the hair when it starts thinning, and it ain't beautiful. Okay, clearly you see that there's something going on there. Now, not everybody in the study could tell that something was happening to their hair, although it was. So when they go to their hairdresser is like Rhonda on top of their head, and the hairdresser tells this one lady in specifically, my gosh, you have lots of tiny things coming up from your scalp. The hairdresser told her, I didn't have to tell her that. So it's a self-esteem issue. And we want a more youthful look. Remember, I talked about long hair. So specifically, I told Rhonda back in October, November, when we first started trying this, I said, I'm not cutting my hair until we launch this product. I'm going to see what this does for long hair. Now, I'm not really your long hair girl, but it's growing. I mean, it's doing stuff that it shouldn't be doing based on my age and my texture of my hair. So it is about what we look like. It is about social perceptions. It's what do we look like in our picture. Our hairstyles can influence, and it's a first impression. So how attractive a woman feels is how approachable she feels about going out in life. It's that important. The grain, the texture, the growth, all of this ties into who they identify with themselves, and they want a hairstyle that they feel beautiful in.
Absolutely perfect. So it leads me literally to the perfect question for Angie, because Angie, you talked about habit stacking, and not everybody uses the words habit stacking, but how does this fit into your daily routine as one smart decision at a time? I mean, how do you stack this into your daily routine and put it in as part of it?
Well, going back to the other lovely ladies, we don't wash our hair every day. anymore. I mean, we're really told not to, even though we want to. But then you get that, I'm heading toward 50, everything is changing. And for me, it was, you feel this difference in how the softness and the shine of your hair is. And it does take a minute. But the most important thing I think about the whole idea of habit stacking is really about how we are living our lives as humans. I get up in the morning, I want sweet something and coffee. That is not, I had to replace that with Neumi and Neuro, because then I'm doing something amazing how much better you feel about yourself. And you're like, oh, I don't need that coffee, and you don't expect that sluggish tummy in the afternoon that you're going to have. So it's adding to those little changes that we're making kind of as a society, not washing our hair as much. And more than anything, though, it's continuing all of those behaviors, because in my experience, one little thing can change the way that you look at everything. And so when you're given the tools like, oh, okay, this can actually work better for me. And the interesting thing that I'll be excited to hear about moving forward with, our Neumi hair mist, it performs differently than anything I've experienced on the market. And I get sent products left and right all the time. I probably have 15 to 20 right now that I haven't even tried, but I know looking at them, they're going to be tacky and sticky. And so anyway, that's not something that's stackable with continuing to wait a day or two to wash your hair, because then you're just getting all this accumulation. And I do feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong in this, but even when I've done that, the day before I had to do a little extra or something, and I put the Neumi, I put it in before I go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning and I do it all over again. And I almost feel like I didn't do that damage the day before. And I still have, and for whatever reason too, this actually helps my hair curl better or hold the curl better. So it's making my hair behave in some different ways that encourage that habit stacking, because it's like, what do you eat at lunch? Are you running to, Applebee's and eating all of the wonderful, appetizers? Or are you going and getting a salad from, a trusted local farmers market? Or, it's just those little things. And I think that that's one little thing at a time. Because again, we're not going to be Adonis, by Friday, but we can sure as heck give ourselves the opportunity to integrate these little things into our system, our daily systems, that cause awareness about what we're doing to our body and our health overall. And they're doable little things, though, that don't, you don't need to, buy a new car to have something happen. You can, use your product and you see those changes. It's not that dynamic that you need to spend a lot of money on something. It's really just finding the right products that allow you to take the best possible care of yourself and then stack those habits.
So it's really just your day-to-day micro decisions that are
Yeah.
positive, not negative. So I mean, we're just doing the right things. Yeah,
Yeah.
Angie, it's great. And it's funny because it leads me into the exact question for Gordon as well. Because we're talking about putting a product on your scalp or on your hair that's not sticky, that's not tacky, that doesn't kind of cause more problems than good. But our product is built in a water base. It's molecular encapsulation. So from the hydrostat perspective, why is the purity of the product such a major talking point? And obviously, you deal with this every day, Gordon. But why can you, or maybe just explain why that matters? The effectiveness, the safety, the efficacy, et cetera.
People don't realize I do a lot of toxin panels, a ton of toxin panels in my practice all the time. So I see people with high levels of parabens, polyparabens, different things that are in hair products, that are in lotions, and people are putting this on their skin, but it is going through their skin into their circulatory system. They're circulating it through their body. Then they wonder why they're getting cognitive decline. Well, they're getting cognitive decline because those things like the fat membrane and the mitochondria is fat. So that's where you produce 90% of your ATP every day in your body. All those things get absorbed into your body. And they really affect every single aspect of what's going on in every single organ. And we don't want to accumulate toxins. This is a toxin-free product that doesn't have anything detrimental to your health. So it's only going to do positive things. So if you absorb the glutathione, through your skin into your body, well, we all need that. And especially at our age, after 21,
Mhm.
our they're declining like crazy is how much glutathione you have. If you've been chronically ill like I was, then you really don't have any glutathione in your body. So you really need it. And so the purity of the product is essential. Why? Because then the nutrients that are there to actually feed the cells for proper growth, for proper restoration, because it's about restoration. That's what we want is restoration, restoration of your scalp cells, restoration of what's going on with your hair. You know, I actually went to somebody for a hair transplant myself because my wife thought I was needing some up here. So, I'm like, I am not ready for that, you know? And so, I mean, it's like, but you know what I have noticed is that, yeah, my hair is thicker. It feels better. I don't wash my hair but once a week. Why? Because they told me quit washing your hair every day because you're damaging your hair because you're
Mhm.
washing all the nutrients out because a lot of what we produce in that oils and all those things are nurturing to that. So this is a pure product that you don't have to worry about it collecting and building up on your scalp and on your hair. And it actually is going to help feed what your body needs for growth, for restoration, because restoration, regenerative medicine is what I do. And that's what we need, every one of us.
Well, and Gordon, we're gonna have you and Bert do a bit of a deep dive into the ingredient
Yes.
base and get into some of the specifics on a different part of this program. But for now, I want to just go to Bert as my last question, because as we kept on just barraging Bert with all kinds of information and before and after photos and thoughts and suggestions from the field, was there anything that surprised you during the testing or formulation process that confirmed you had something truly special? I mean, was there something that popped out and said, wow, we've got something here?
Great question. Great question. I think one of the things that we did in this and what we do with all when we create products, we do a fair amount of homework on each and every single ingredient.
Mm.
Um, and I think one of the things that I learned when we were doing this that surprised me a little bit is that I referred to the labels of all the products that were out there. And to Gordon's comment, the number of different things that people were using for their hair. And we would take each one of those and look at it and say, what does it do? How does it work? What's the mechanics behind it? Is it something that will help what we want to get to? Remember, our goal was to have a leave-on product that fed the hair and the scalp. That was our whole product. A light one, so that we didn't have oils and silicones and things like that that would weigh it down. And so I think to answer your question specifically, one of the things that surprised me as we were putting it together was the fact that we did not need to have, I mean, we've got a lot of ingredients, but we didn't need to have all of the cadre that everybody else was using because it wasn't necessary.
Mm.
So the word I would use in this is that we have essential ingredients,
Mm.
those that are necessary, but no more.
Mm.
The other piece to that was, I've obviously got some shine on my forehead. But one of the things that I noticed immediately when I sprayed it on my hair is that it felt better. And I thought, well, that was what it was designed to do, Bert.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have that feeling. So as we get to it, again, the three, if we could enumerate it, the key benefits is that we have stronger hair, we have a healthier scalp, and we have softer, better looking strands. But it's built by ingredients that are effective individually as well as collectively to make healthy hair.
Well, I honest to goodness can't wait to dig into the ingredient base of formulation. It's going to be a lot of fun for us to get into it. You know, when I was younger, I started losing my hair around mid-20s, maybe late 20s. I remember my dad taking me aside with a lot of people in the room and said, "Aaron, I'm going to share with you a gift. And it's the way to save your hair." He said, "I've got it, and not I don't give this to everybody, but you need it. and I'm going to give it to you. And he handed me a shoebox and he said, every morning, take all the hair off your pillow and put it in the shoebox. You'll be able to save it forever. And I swear to God, that is exactly what he told me. No kidding. You'd have to know my dad to know that that is the honest truth. But the fact is that that's what I got from a father. So you guys have to realize we've got incredible panelists here. Thank you, Rhonda, Sherry, Angie, Dr. Gordon, Bert. You guys are just absolutely incredible to share some of your thoughts, your feelings. And I want to thank you for sharing your expertise, your passion, the results that we saw from some of the people that you were able to send in. And for you that are watching this and wondering if this product really works, I want you to know that now that you've heard from the people that helped create it and those that are already using it, it's simple, it's science-backed, it's shareable. So let's get in there with more hands and onto more scalps around the world. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being on the panel tonight. Thank you very much.